What's going on, folks? Justin with 1791. Today we are having a conversation about making concealed carry more comfortable so that it can be more of a lifestyle for you. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so I'm gonna throw a quick caveat in there and admit to you guys that I had to completely reshoot this segment of the video. Originally, I tried to do the entire thing from the indoor range, and it was just had a terrible echo. All right, so as you can see, all I've done so far is I just put on a t-shirt over top of my undershirt. So I'm essentially going to do the narration part of this from the studio here, and I'm going to splice in some parts from the range. I'm going to really try to minimize how much talking I'm doing in the range, just because the echo is incredibly annoying, and if it's annoying for me, it's probably going to be annoying for you guys. So just to make sure that this is as interesting and entertaining as possible, I try to make videos that I would watch. So let's press on here and talk about making concealed carry more comfortable. All right, so in this video, I talk about a few different concealed carry techniques that I really like. I'll go ahead and say right now too, that these concealed carry techniques, this is really more about making concealed carry more comfortable for a little bit more of a refined end user. Someone that is trying to carry more firepower, things like that. If all you're trying to do is like pocket carry a Ruger LCP or something like that, maybe this video isn't for you, or really moreover, maybe this video is for the future version of you when you get a little more sand on your boots, all right? So I first start talking about in the video what my concealed carry looks like every day, just my normal everyday carry. And for the purpose of showing you really kind of like what that looks like, I'm just wearing a plain old white t-shirt, just my undershirt. I've been wearing a plain white under t-shirt for most of my life, for the last 20 years, ever since I joined the Navy. And part of the uniform of the day in the Navy is you have to wear a undershirt. I kind of got used to that, and when I got out of the Navy, I just continued to wear an undershirt, not because I was super duper used to it, but because that really made concealed carry a lot more comfortable, because I had a little bit of standoff between me and the gun and the holster. It wasn't rubbing against my skin. So I really like to wear an under t-shirt like 365 days a year. Even in the summer, I wear an undershirt. My wife kind of gives me a hard time, and she's like, babe, it's like, 95 degrees out. Why are you wearing an undershirt? And I just I like it. Sorry. But yeah, it really helps with the comfort there. And for me, I don't really have a ton of issues with like thermal regulation, and I don't get overly hot if I'm wearing an undershirt and then my gun and magazine carrier, and then an over t-shirt over top of that. I usually order size medium under t-shirts so that they fit a little bit tighter to my skin. And they don't get baggy underneath my main t-shirt, and then I wear a size large over top of that. Now, one of the big things that makes concealed carry super comfortable is the right belt. Belt selection is kind of clutch. You need to select something that is going to support the weight of the weapon so that your magazine carrier and your pistol are not kind of tipping outboard like that. They have to support the weight of the weapon and the magazine carrier, ideally even kind of pull them inboard toward the body a little bit so they're not printing underneath the garment. So for that, I use my Cobra gun belt. This thing works really kind of perfect for an IWB concealed carry holster. Has that Cobra gun belt. Lets me feel like Batman when I click it on in the morning. Yay for that. Made out of heavy-duty 14-ounce steer hide gun leather, so that's not really going to kind of crush or deform when it comes to carrying the weight of my stuff. But this really kind of flexes and contours to the body and really kind of helps make concealed carry a little bit more comfortable. For inside the waistband, I like to use my TAC Kydex IWB. For those of you watching this video, I will kind of give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek. We are working on a highly advanced leather inside the waistband concealed carry holster. So sneak peek for you guys that are faithful watchers of the channel. More to come on that later on in the year. We are kind of pioneering what that looks like right now. But for all intents and purposes, for right now, it's our 1791 TAC Kydex IWB. I really like that guy because it helps maintain the shape of the holster upon draw, so that when I'm done doing the shooty pew pew things and I go to reholster that pistol, I don't have to fiddle with it. It's just kind of right there and ready to go. Something else that really helps with concealed carry comfort, just in general, is a quality set of jeans that maybe have a little bit of spandex to them. No, I'm not advocating for, like, you know, men in ballet or something like that, but jeans with some spandex, a little bit of flex, that helps you be a little bit more mobile, and mobility equals agility, and agility in a gunfight equals life. So having the ability to be mobile is really kind of important. I've talked about this ad nauseum. I've kind of beat this to death in previous videos. So I'll try not to beat it to death in this video, but having a few pairs of trousers, like your everyday carry pants, making sure that you select something that, number one, is tailored for not just your waist, but your waist and your gun and your magazine carrier and the other implements that you carry inside the waistband. That's important, but also selecting something that has a little bit of flex to it, so that when you have to do active things, kind of athlete-related things when it comes to shooting a gun, that's pretty important. The next gun and concealed carry technique that I'm going to talk about in this video is outside the waistband. So inside the waistband as opposed to outside the waistband, it's pretty easy to conceal inside the waistband underneath the t-shirt. I'm not a really big dude. I carry a Glock 19 and a spare mag, and I can pretty easily conceal carry that underneath the t-shirt with very, very minimal printing. When it comes to outside the waistband, this is usually a whole lot more comfortable than inside the waistband, and generally what you give up in concealability, you usually gain it in comfort. So what you're gaining in comfort, you give up in concealability, and what you give up in concealability, you're oftentimes gaining comfort. It kind of tips back and forth like a seesaw, right? We all play with a seesaw when we were in elementary school, right? Those are pretty cool. Maybe I just dated myself, whatever. But yeah, outside the waistband, super duper comfortable. I really like carrying outside the waistband when I'm going to be off the beaten path, right? When I am not necessarily in an environment where people are going to be seeing me on a regular basis. For instance, I don't really open carry. I don't like outside the waistband carry that is uncovered in an urban environment or even in a small town. I don't like people seeing my gun. Contrary to popular belief, contrary to what some concealed carry advocates might tell you on the internet, I'm not going to name any names, but there's a pretty big popular dude in the concealed carry advocacy space that advocates for open carry, and he's an absolute fool. All right. Open carry paints a target on your back. It is not a de-escalation tactic. It is not a deterrent. Because when bad guys see that you have a gun when they walk in, best case scenario, they just take the gun from you because you are most likely situationally unaware. You're not paying attention to your surroundings. And they're just going to creep up behind you and yank that pistol out of that holster. And it's their pistol now. It's no longer your pistol because you were stupid and you're carrying open carry. All right. If that was cutting, then stop open carrying in public. All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. All right. So yeah, the only time I open carry is when I'm literally out in the sticks all by myself, or like at our family ranch or something like that, when I'm like, you know, off the beaten path. Or what I also like to do for open carry with my BH 2.1 and my single magazine carrier, I like to carry this underneath the flannel in flannel weather. This conceals really easily underneath the jacket. Just make sure that if you are carrying outside the waistband, that you can conceal it with something lesser than just your jacket, right? Excuse me. If the only way that you can conceal this is underneath the jacket, you're doing it wrong, because when you take the wife out to dinner, you go into a nice restaurant, you're going to have to take that coat off because they actually use the thermostat and it's kind of nice in there. So once you take that jacket off, you want to make sure that your other cover garment, like this flannel or whatever, you want to make sure that that cover garment is also going to not just conceal it, but it's going to obscure it and minimize the printing as well, so that you are not brandishing the fact that you have a firearm with you. When I'm rocking the outside the waistband BH 2.1, I like to use our traditional gun belt 01, just because the open-ended male side of the belt slides through those belt loops very easily. The Cobra gun belt is kind of no bueno when it comes to doing that. All right, so those are some of the things I like to do in more conventional concealed carry situations. In both situations, I'm carrying a Glock 19 with a spare magazine. The only thing that really changes is the mode of transport. This is my inside the waistband carry rig. This is my outside the waistband carry rig. This is 365 days a year, and or like, you know, this is like the most normal modus operandi, right? 365 days a year. This is more like, 6 months out of the year. Colder weather, colder climate where I come from is usually chilly enough to wear a flannel 6 months out of the year. So I could, instead of opting for that, if I want to go max comfort 6 months out of the year, I'll pivot to the outside the waistband BH holster. It also looks really cool. I don't know about you guys and what your favorite 1791 leather color is, but my favorite leather color is the signature brown. It's kind of got that deep reddish look to it. That just screams like awesome sauce to me. So that's kind of my go-to. Now, for those of you, again, who are the more refined end user, the more refined concealed carrier who have stuck around to this part, I have something a little bit different for you. So for the last year or so, I've been pioneering a concealed carry technique called 38 offset. It is a way to concealed carry a backup gun that is on the waistline and much more accessible than something on your ankle or in your pocket or something like that. I really like carrying it on the waistline because I'm able to retrieve it with both hands. I can cover both guns with one hand if I'm in a grappling situation, and let's say I'm using my other hand to stop or deflect a knife attack or something like that. I can still block both of those guns with one arm. I just cover the 38 with my hand, and I cover the Glock with my elbow, and I can control both of them at the same time. In that 38 offset concealed carry setup, I also still carry my spare magazine on the offhand side. And something else that I've added to 38 offset is carrying an additional Glock 19 magazine in the coin pocket of my my pants. Now, what I really like about that is it's not necessarily like having an extra round. I think that gives me an extra 48 rounds because I carry 15 plus 1 in the gun. I carry a Glock 17 magazine on the offhand hip, and then that additional Glock 19 magazine in the coin pocket. I believe that gets me to 48 rounds on tap. Now, if I need that many pistol rounds, holy smokes, I just stumbled into something really bad. And that's okay, because apparently it was meant to be that I was going to be there to stop it, whatever. The main reason why I carry that Glock 19 magazine in the coin pocket is if I get winged in the support arm. If I get winged in the support arm and my weapon goes dry or it malfunctions, let's again say like this arm is dead to the world, it's a lot easier to flick that empty magazine out, holster that pistol, and then grab that magazine out of the coin pocket and then insert in the back of the grip, rack the slide, and go, right? Now, one other thing that is different about the way I do that is normally I carry all of my magazines with rounds facing inboard towards the belly button. That's just the way I was trained many years ago to carry spare magazines consistently. Now, the coin pocket magazine, I carry that beer can grip with the rounds facing backwards. The reason why I do that is when I come down to grab that thing, I just want to be able to beer can grip it, bring it back, insert it in the magazine, tap, rack, and I'm back in the fight, right? The other reason why I really like a Glock 19 magazine in that coin pocket is the height of the 19 magazine allows it to sit in a manner with which the bottom of the belt to ride on the top of the magazine, and it facilitates a little bit of retention in that pocket so that it doesn't just like fall out in some environment where I don't want it to fall out. So that is something that I've added to 38 offset. Some of the advantages of 38 offsets, I've mentioned them before in the dedicated video that I made to that concealed carry technique. I'll go ahead and put a link in the description below to that video. It's called Backup Gun Concepts 38 Offset. But I'll go ahead and briefly talk about some of the advantages to carrying that backup gun, and specifically carrying a 38 Special at the appendix position, oriented approximately 38 degrees offset from your 3 o'clock concealed carry position for your main go-to pistol. Reason one, it's a heck of a lot easier to grab that pistol from the appendix position and draw offhand. For instance, if my right primary arm is injured, before I'm able to get a gun into the fight, it's a heck of a lot easier to grab that appendix carry and get that into the fight versus trying to reach all the way around to that 3 o'clock Glock 19 all the way over yonder. And it's just kind of tough to reach that sucker, right? Another thing that it's kind of handy for is drawing from a seated position. That's a big deal, especially if you are in a vehicle wearing your seatbelt buckle, whatever, which you should be. It's kind of tough sometimes to deconflict that buckle region if you're right-handed to get your pistol out if you carry at 3 o'clock or even 4 o'clock. Heck of a lot easier just to grab the bottom of your garment, rip up on it, at which time you will be ripping up on the seatbelt and clearing the seatbelt proper. It's a lot easier to get that appendix carry gun out. So that's another thing that it's handy for. Another big handy thing about it is if your primary gun goes down, right? If your primary gun goes down, whether it be because it just straight up ran out of ammunition, or whether it be you had a malfunction, it's a heck of a lot nicer to at least have a 38 backup gun with 5 shots in it versus no gun, if that gun is just straight up out of the fight, if your main gun is just out of the fight. Again, it could be out of the fight because you ran out of ammunition, maybe you had a malfunction that is a hard malfunction that you can't clear in the field. Or even if it's a soft malfunction, that's something that you can clear in the field with like a tap rack bang. Still way faster to rip out that 38 special, finish the fight, and then you could just take that 38 special and pocket it, and then you could tap rack and then reassess what's going on, and then like you have your main pistol in the fight should a follow-on fight kind of metastasize from there. So that New York reload is kind of clutch. Another thing that I really like about that 38 offset position is in bad breath distance fights. Again, I've talked about this ad nauseum, but in the US, statistically speaking, you're most likely to find yourself in a gunfight inside of 7 yards. And again, that's within the very low statistical likelihood that you're even faced with being in a gunfight. It's actually quite low. We don't carry a gun because we expect to be in that fight. We carry a gun in the event that that likelihood should happen, and we at least have the right tool for the job. Just like if there's a kitchen fire, we have fire extinguishers in the home because that's the right tool for the job, right? But in the statistically low likelihood that I'm faced with a deadly force encounter, I'm in a gunfight, whatever, that is most likely to happen inside of 7 yards. And inside of that 7 yards, a very, very large proportion of those situations actually happen inside of 3 yards, all right? So inside of 3 yards, you can see how many zits they have on their face. You can smell their bad breath. It's close enough to where it may very quickly turn into a grappling gunfight, all right? That's a quick caveat from there. It's very important for you guys to become physically fit and also learn some fighting skills, because there is no guarantee that that gunfight isn't going to involve like fists and knees and grappling and all the things, right? So in that type of situation, a wheel gun kind of shines a little bit more because you can contact shoot that thing repeatedly. With a semi-automatic, you can contact shoot once if you're lucky, if the gun is not pressed out of battery. Out of battery meaning you press it against something and it pops out of battery and it will not work. All right, that is what I mean by out of battery. All right, I'm kind of fussy about guns being loaded and ready, so I'm just going to go ahead and get my carry gun gassed back up and ready. All right. Just because I'm going to be putting that thing on directly after this video, that's why that one's loaded and chambered and ready to go. All right, so in that type of situation where you're in a grappling fight, a wheel gun, you can just go boom, 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 boom. Like you can just keep shooting as long as the cylinder is not inhibited. Yes, a very, very savvy criminal that has years and years of firearms experience and someone that's extremely well trained If you're fighting with them, they might be able to grab the cylinder and bind the cylinder up so that it won't work. But again, try and put yourself in that bad guy's shoes. Is that dude that like John Wick level trained shooter to where they know that they can grab the gun and pinch the cylinder and it's going to stop working? We have to work off of degrees of realism here, all right? So that at least affords me a greater opportunity to have a reliably functioning repeating firearm that will be able to work successive rounds one after another. So that's kind of why I like that. So let's say I'm in that bad breath distance fight. I draw my belly gun out, I blast a few off. I very quickly discourage that grappling type of deadly force environment. And then as I create space, I can transition to my main fighting pistol one-handed, which is better than nothing. I can transition to my main fighting pistol if that fight continues to turn sideways. Let's say there's more than one attacker. One of them got blasted a couple of times. They let go of me. I create some space, and then his friend pulls out his gun. That's what I'm talking about with like kind of having different resources, different tools on tap that I can utilize on command, right? Now, one of the ways that I make this 38 offset situation a little bit more comfortable is it's a little bit about experimentation, right? So for normal IWB, I like my my TAC Kydex IWB with my spare magazine carrier there. But for appendix carry, I have not really found a love for appendix carry yet. Especially because I'm not like a super big, tall dude. Even a Glock 19, the length of that pistol and the length of the concurrent holster that it goes in, that kind of comes down a little bit too far to where it digs into my groin, especially when I sit down. It's just not comfortable, right? I don't like it. But this little bitty 642, that is short enough to where that's kind of like the special spot. You know what I mean? It doesn't come down so far to where it's uncomfortable. And then another big clutch item is I'm carrying it in our Fairchase deer hide leather holster, super soft, nice and comfy, cozy leather. And I just put my 642 in there. And not only does it sit, not super low and it's not digging in my groin, but it's a lot softer and more comfortable up against my abdomen for carrying that for long periods of time. Now, do I carry 38 offset every day? No. I mainly carry this type of situation, pistol, spare mag, good gun belt, and obviously a few other EDC accessories. Primarily carry that. I can carry that 365 days a year. And what I can do to augment this is I augment with 38 offset, and in some situations I will also plus up that with another spare magazine in that coin pocket like I was talking about before, so I can still do a reload on my main fighting pistol when my support arm is winged. Now, a couple other things that make 38 offset kind of advantageous. The biggest reason, my wife carries a pistol, right? She's trained, she carries a pistol, I would say 360 days a year, right? Now, one of the main reasons why I'll carry 38 offset, and I'll ask my wife, are you packing today? And if we're going out on a date, she's got a sexy dress on, and she just can't find a good place to put it, I will be the gentleman and I will carry 38 offset, so I basically am carrying her pistol for her. This isn't her pistol, this is mine. She carries a Bodyguard 380, but this is better than nothing, right? Something goes down when we're on our date night, she's in her sexy dress, I can be like, whoop, here you go, babe, there's your gun. Mainly because like I can't be in multiple places at once, right? So if I want to be able to be an effective force for good, I need to be able to multiply myself. And if I have to, go and take care of some business and go confront the bad guy, there's nothing saying that another bad guy does not materialize in that environment. And I want my wife to have something to be able to protect herself, right? Or worst case scenario, I go down, right? That's always a reality when it comes to being in a deadly force encounter. We never want to think about the fact that we could lose, but I could go down. That's a very real possibility. And if I go down and I'm like, 20, 30 feet away from my wife and I've got the only good guy gun in that room, that's a bad day, right? So that's one of the reasons why I'll carry a backup gun is so I can arm my wife so that should the worst transpire, she still has the ability to protect herself, even if I am removed from the battlefield, all right? All right, so that's really the main things I want to talk about in this video. Again, if I splice in, if I have no other choice than to splice in some stuff from the range where it's kind of echoey and the audio sucks, I'm sorry. I tried, but I wanted to make sure I put in the due diligence to basically just reshoot this video here in the studio so that the audio is a little bit better. Guys, I hope you got something on this video. If you did, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Share it with all your friends, and until next time, train hard and carry your gun.